Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Cougs Zone. I'm your host, Spencer Tull.
And I'm your co-host, Gus Marceau. On this episode, the sun sets on Cougar basketball and WSU golf pushes closer to the WCC championships with some incredible individual performances.
Plus, the baseball team gets their season back on track and a Cougar outlook of sports to come. All that and so much more.
Right here, only on Cougs Zone.
The Cougs hosted San Diego on February 27th for their last home game of the regular season. WSU honored three seniors before the game: Cedric Howard, Dane Erikstrup, and Ethan Price. After the pregame festivities concluded, the Cougs wasted no time jumping to an early lead. Wazoo entered the half up 53-25. However, the Toreros wouldn't go down without a fight. San Diego turned it on in the second half, scoring a whopping 61 points to WSU's 40. Wazoo hung on by the skin of their teeth, winning the game 93-86 and narrowly escaping a late-game collapse. Dane Erikstrup was fantastic, capping off his senior night with 23 points on an impressive 8 for 10 from the field in only 19 minutes. Fellow senior Ethan Price added 17 points to that score and 7 rebounds.
The Cougs made their way down to Malibu to face Pepperdine on March 1st, hoping to ride some positive momentum and finish the regular season with a W. The Cougs made a statement in a 93-83 defeat of the Waves. Dane Erikstrup was great for WSU, logging 15 points and 12 rebounds, making all 4 of his free throws. Ethan Price added 15 efficient points of his own.
The Cougs packed their bags and made their way to Vegas for the WCC championship as a 6th seed, matching up in the first round with 7th-seeded LMU on March 8th. The Cougs claimed a dominant 94-77 victory. WSU was firing on all cylinders, shooting above 50% from the field, 37.4% from three, and out-rebounding the Lions 41-33. Nate Calmise was great with 22 points, but it was Ethan Price who showed out for the Cougs. Price had 22 points of his own, adding 5 rebounds and a ridiculous 8 for 9 from the field.
The Cougs returned on March 9th for a bout with 4th-seeded San Francisco. WSU entered the half just down 2 points, holding San Francisco to a measly 32.5% from the field. If the Cougs could make clutch shots down the stretch and remain solid defensively, the game was easily within reach. Halfway through the second half, WSU was answering every dawn basket with one of their own, never owning a lead but trailing by just 1 point. However, it was all downhill for the Cougs from that moment. San Francisco ballooned the lead to 12 points with 5 minutes remaining, and Wazoo couldn't claw their way back, dropping the game 86-75 when the dust settled. Ethan Price was the star for WSU, scoring 26 points on fantastic shooting splits. Lawan Watts and Nate Calmise added 20 and 16 respectively. The loss officially dashes any minuscule hope of making it to the dance for March Madness. And with 3 productive seniors leaving, the future of Cougar men's basketball remains up in the air.
Like the men, WSU women's basketball had their final regular season game in Malibu, facing off against Pepperdine on February 27th. And just like the men, the Cougs beat Pepperdine to finish the season with a big win. WSU edged out the Waves 57-49 in a defensive battle. The Cougs shot a dismal 32.8% from the field, which was quite good compared to Pepperdine's putrid 28.8%. In what was an all-around ugly game, the Cougs won with good rebounding and limited turnovers. Tara Wallach led the way with an 11.10 rebound double-double on respectable shooting splits. Diana Mendez and Eleanor Villa added 14 and 11 points respectively.
Entering the WCC tournament as the 3rd seed, WSU was launched directly into the quarterfinals, where they would find themselves facing off with 7th-seeded Pacific on March 9th. The Cougs sent the Tigers home in an impressive 73-62 victory. The Cougs relied on their bench all game, flexing their depth and outscoring Pacific's second unit 22-3. Tigers guard Anaya James logged an efficient 30 points, but Wazoo's team approached 1 out. Estera Tahina was the star for WSU with 18 points and 6 assists on efficient splits. Diana Mendez was also great, adding on 15 points of her own.
WSU returned to Orleans Arena the next day for the semifinal game with the University of Portland. The Pilots swept their regular season series 2-0, but the Cougs had Portland's number in the first half. They built up a 39-30 lead, even while making just one of their 8 three-point attempts. WSU's defense and paint attack made up for it. However, the second half told a much different story for the Cougs. The Pilots outscored Wazoo 26-7 in the third quarter and added 5 more points to their lead in the fourth, resulting in a 72-57 final tally. Shooting 22 for 62 from the field and 2 of 18 from 3 wasn't earning a victory in any universe, and the Cougs punched Portland's ticket to the championship game.
The Cougs sent 3 swimmers to the NCAA championship in Federal Way, Washington to conclude their season from March 20th to the 22nd. Junior Emily Lundgren finished 6th in the 200-yard breaststroke on March 22nd, earning her second All-American honor of the meet. She also earned honorable mention All-American honors in the 100-yard breaststroke on March 21st, finishing 16th overall. Lundgren earned her first honorable All-American honors last season in the 200 breaststroke.
Freshman Darcy Revitt finished an impressive rookie season, breaking her own school record once again in the 50-yard freestyle. She finished as the first alternate for the event's finals. Revitt also raced in the 100 freestyle and finished as the 3rd fastest freshman in the country for that event. In junior Dory Hathazi's 3rd trip to the NCAA championships, she finished 25th overall in the 200-yard butterfly, but did not qualify for the finals. Lundgren's spectacular performance broke her personal best and Mountain West Conference record in the 200 breaststroke. Her 6th place finish earned her the best place by a Coug in NCAA history.
Women's golf attended the Westbrook Invitational at Westbrook Village Golf Course in Peoria, Arizona on February 23rd. The tournament was not kind to WSU as the Cougs limped out of the 3-round tournament, tied for last place with Sam Houston. Wazoo was bad in round 1, shooting 19 over as a team. However, the Cougs turned it around, shooting even par and 2 over in the final 2 rounds respectively. Unfortunately, it was too little, too late. Madeline Gamble was the only Cougar to crack the top half of the individual leaderboard for WSU, finishing at a respectable 31st place and shooting 1 under par. Gamble's round 3 was fantastic, shooting a 68 without a single bogey and twirling back-to-back birdies on holes 17 and 18.
The Cougs were back in action on March 3rd and 4th for the Julie Inkster Invitational at Meadow Club Golf Course in Fairfax, California. WSU logged a much better performance, finishing 7th among the 14-team field, which included 6 ranked schools. After logging the 4th best score of the first round at 1 under par, the Cougs came back to earth in rounds 2 and 3, finishing at 20 over par when the dust settled. Madeline Gamble was great once again, capturing the 15th place in the individual leaderboard and finishing at 1 over par. Alice Johansson had the best individual performance, firing a 69 in round 1.
The men's golf team made their way down to Tucson for the Arizona Thunderbirds Intercollegiate Tournament on March 17th. The Cougs finished in 8th place out of 13 teams by the end of the 3-round, 2-day competition. The mammoth 7,533-yard Tucson Country Club proved to be a struggle for every team involved. Arizona claimed the victory despite not even breaking par, finishing 3 over. The Cougs looked excellent in round 1, finishing at even par as a team, headed by Sam Renner and Garrett Harrison, each firing 71s. The latter rounds were not as forgiving as WSU dropped from 7th to 8th in the standings after day 2. Sam Renner provided a silver lining for the Cougs, shooting a 69 in round 3, including an eagle on hole 13, which launched him 22 spots up to 9th place on the individual leaderboard.
WSU Baseball held their home opener against Seattle University for a 3-game set from March 7th to the 9th. The Cougs took home Game 1 6-4. All 6 runs came in the 2nd and 3rd innings for Wazoo, which was plenty for starting pitcher Griffin Smith. Smith threw 6 innings, allowing 2 earned runs and tossing it to the bullpen. Closer Luke Myers recorded the final 5 outs of the game to pick up his 2nd save of the season. WSU took Game 2 by a score of 9-4. 4 Cougs recorded multi-hit games to help support starting pitcher Nick Lewis. Lewis allowed only 2 earned runs over 5 innings, earning him his first collegiate win. WSU dropped a thrilling Game 3 by a score of 12-10. The Cougs entered the bottom of the 9th trailing 12-4 and fell just short by scoring 6 runs on 4 hits with their last 3 outs. Ollie Obenor, Logan Johnstone, and Jack Weiss and Griffin Myers had 2 RBIs each for the Cougs.
Wazoo's next series came against 8th-ranked Oregon State on March 11th and 12th in Corvallis. WSU was smacked around in the series opener, dropping the game 15-1. Right fielder Logan Johnstone had the lone RBI for WSU on a sac fly in the 6th. However, the game was all but over by that point. The Beavers erupted for 9 runs in the 4th inning, headed by 6 walks and 5 hits. Game 2 was a much tighter affair, but the Beavers hung on and walked away with a 4-3 victory. Washington State managed to carry a lead for most of the game, with 2 Cougs, Rigo Longo and Will Cresswell, having multi-hit days. However, Oregon State belted a go-ahead 2-run homer in the 7th, which wrapped up for the scoring for both teams.
WSU made their way to Colorado for a 3-game series with Air Force from March 14th to the 16th. The Cougs dropped an action-packed Game 1 by a score of 15-14. The Cougs collected a season high of 18 hits and 4 players had multi-hit games. Freshman Ollie Obenauer had a day, logging his first career 5-hit game and the first 5-hit game since 2023. Despite the amazing offensive performance and a 14-10 lead entering the 8th inning, WSU's bullpen folded in on itself, giving Air Force 5 runs and a lead. The Cougs couldn't manage any more runs in the 9th, marking their 4th straight loss.
The Cougs came back to even the series, taking Game 2 with a 10-4 victory. 8 Cougar starters notched a hit, including leadoff hitter Max Hartman and 2-hole hitter Ollie Obenauer, who both collected 2 hits. Nick Lewis threw 6 innings, followed by Rylan Hyder, who was electric in 3 scoreless innings to close the game. Wazoo dropped Game 3 in 14-9 shootout. The Cougars took a 7-5 lead in the 6th inning, but Air Force scored 3 runs in the 6th and 6th in the 8th to put the game out of reach.
WSU returned home for a 3-game set with San Diego State from March 21st to the 23rd. The Cougs mercy ruled the Aztecs in Game 1 by a score of 13-3. Wazoo collected 15 hits with back-to-back 5-run innings in the 4th and the 5th. Griffin Smith was masterful for the Cougs, pitching all 7 innings and racking up 6 strikeouts. All of the Aztecs' runs were unearned.
The second game was yet another beatdown. WSU mercied San Diego with the same 13-3 score as the day before. Logan Johnstone hit 2 out of the team's season-high 4 home runs to help starter Nick Lewis, who gave up only 1 run while pitching into the 7th. Ollie Obenauer and Gavin Roy also extended their hitting streaks to 11 games. The Cougs would complete the sweep against San Diego with a 12-5 victory in Game 3. Senior catcher Will Cresswell recorded 3 hits and a career-high 6 RBIs, helping WSU to their first conference sweep since sweeping Arizona State in Pullman last season. Max Hartman continued his hitting streak, bumping it up to 17 games with a solo home run. Junior right-hander Luke Myers came in late to close the game with 4 strikeouts through 3 scoreless frames.
On March 7th, the Cougs tennis team made their way to Portland, Oregon to take on the Portland State Vikings. The Cougs dominated the match from the start, sweeping all 3 double sets and following up with a flawless performance in singles. The Cougs made their way to Spokane for a match with Gonzaga on March 22nd. WSU took control early by winning the doubles point. The Cougs followed up with a dominant performance in singles play, securing victories in all 3 sets.
The track and field team had a busy month of March. A pair of Cougs set program records on March 2nd at the Last Chance qualifier event in Boston. Mason Lawyer ran the 60-yard dash in 20.63 seconds, the best ever for a Coug and 15th best in the nation. Then Tatum Moku broke her program record for the pole vault, leaping to a height of 4.46 meters, tied for 11th nationally. Both Moku and Lawyer advanced to the Indoor Track and Field Championships on March 14th, where they placed 11th and 14th in their respective events. Another Coug, hurdler Michaela De Mayo, also competed at the championships. The senior speedster finished in 4th place in the women's 60-meter event with a time of 8.02 seconds. The Cougs kicked off their outdoor seasons at the Bucks scoring meet on March 20th in Spokane. Their freshman Bailey Robles won the javelin, and freshman Mason Anduliyevich won the hammer throw.
The next day, on March 21st, the Cougs sent athletes to San Diego to compete in the Aztec Invitational. A trio of Kenyan distance runners helped Wazoo take home 3 wins. Freshman Caroline Jepkerer finished at 1st place in the women's 3,000-meter steeplechase. Sophomore Evans Karui continued his stellar year with a win in the men's 1,500-meter race. Sophomore Zena Cheptu won the women's 5,000-meter race while finishing in 2nd place in the women's 1,500. On the short track, junior Esius Banks won the men's 400-meter hurdles. Sophomore Brooke Lyons won the women's 200-meter dash and 100-meter dash. Freshman Royal Haley won the men's 400-meter dash, and junior Parkin Duskin won the men's 110-meter hurdles. Wazoo also won the men's 4x4 100 relay. Finally, in the women's events, WSU took home 3 victories. Moku continued her dominant year with a win in the women's pole vault. Senior Lucius Suarez Pacheco won the women's javelin throw, and freshman Kaya Twaddle Dunham won the men's discus throw. Thank you for watching. Want more WSN content? Follow us on all of our social medias at Wazoo Sports Network on Instagram and TikTok, and at Wazoo Sports Net on X.
Also, make sure to like and subscribe to Cable 8 Productions on YouTube for more amazing content like an upcoming episode of Wazoo Recap and all other great Cable 8 content.
And our merch store is live. Click the link in our Instagram bio to see all the WSN swag available for purchase. Once again, I'm Spencer Tull.
And I'm Gus Marceau. It was our delight to be your hosts today, and we'll catch you next time.
Right here, only on
Coug Zone.
Yeah.